you forgot to add us backstage.
I done
We're live. We're live. Welcome to the BumCast, everyone. I am your host, HBIC, the head bum in charge, along with Baloney, the Southside bum, and a still vacationing, unauthorized part-time PTO, Dougie Freshness. He'll be back next week. 208 episodes, Peter. That's the first we ever forgot to add ourselves back in after the video.
I done goofed. No big deal. Not the worst thing that's gonna happen today. I'm just predicting that now.
That's not. All right, so yeah, we got Dougie's on vacation still, so we have a very special guest, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Gas Money Bob, the leader of men, as some people are saying. The leader of men. He will be joining us very shortly, but good to see you guys. You know, we talked pretty much Bears on the happy hour, so we talked Eberflus getting fired last Friday, so not too much that we really need to, rehash with that, except good riddance, bye-bye, and we're going to be forgetting about him. But how was the rest of your guys' weekends? Like, did you go out and celebrate the firing after the show on Friday?
I celebrated like the Ewoks, celebrating Yub Nub. Yeah, I was at a forest naked with some alcohol, and it was awesome. But no, I think it was post Thanksgiving weekend. I had a long weekend. I was off since basically Tuesday. I really didn't work. I mailed it in on Wednesday. I was at work, but I didn't work. So yeah, it was a nice long weekend. I saw you guys a couple times. And yeah, man, I don't think we have to rehash much on the firing, just that it needed to happen earlier, and we're happy it finally happened.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything at all. Like it was a good, like, after the whole holiday stuff, it was just kind of nice just to kind of like, relax and just kind of calm down. I did watch a Survivor Series, which sucked.
Yeah, bad.
And then I made a glorious steak as well too.
Yeah. That's a tease. That's a tease for the end of the show, because we're going to talk about your steak. And there's a challenge. I think there's been a challenge thrown down by your better half, Johnny. So yeah, we're gonna talk steaks to end the show.
That's right. So yeah, I saw Peter. I saw you on Saturday. We had a nice little get together over at the Ramova. We went up for Josh's belated birthday celebration, his 40th. So that was good times seeing everyone having some festive drinks over at the Ramova. Good times over there. I love that place.
Yeah, they're brew pub. Brew pub is a nice place to hang out if you're on the south side of Chicago. Our side of Chicago. Johnny, it's right a couple 2-3 blocks from you. And yeah, there's a lot of things happening at the Ramova. I think we talked about Sox Fest last week. But yeah, it was good to see everybody, and I'd be back there in a heartbeat. Yeah.
All right, before we bring our guests in, I got some kind of like breaking news. So Dougie, he gave me his Blackhawks tickets for yesterday's game, because he obviously couldn't use them out of town. So thank you, Dougie. Very generous of you. So I asked my brother if he wanted to go. He only has 3, so obviously I took the wife and took my brother as. And this is the first time I've been to a Hawks game this year with Joey, or you taking Dougie's seats, and now Joey and Dougie are in the same row.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So instead of behind, it's all 5 seats in a row now, which is pretty cool. And then Erin, the intern, she showed up too. So that was awesome. But we were talking about the season tickets, and I didn't know that they upgraded to a half season plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like last year they only did like the 10 game or something like that. So we got some breaking news here. After the alcohol was flowing, I think we're in on season tickets next year for season. Yes.
You hopped in on, was it the peer pressure or was it the FOMO, or a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B?
It was a little from column A, a little from column B. But the good news is my brother is on board for him and his girl to split it. So we get 2 seats. We're gonna just buy 2 seats, and we're gonna split it. Between the 4.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Games. So he'll take half the games. I'll take half the games, and then that way we're not on the hook for a half season. And because obviously like when you buy like a full season ticket package, Yeah, you can. It's you, especially like in December and everything, when holidays and work events and stuff and bad weather and everything. So yeah, having my brother like be like, yes, we're in. Like we'll split the half season with you, and that basically sold it for my wife. She was like, all right, if he's in, we're doing it. So and now I need Joey's guy to reach out to me so I can try to get my foot in the door for maybe right behind him or whatever's close around him. So
I gotta say that good move on both of your parts. Going to Hawks games is probably one of the funnest things to do in Chicago when it comes to Chicago sports. I love going to Hawks games, the intermissions, where you could just get, have a drink with your friends and whoever's at the game, meet up. It's just a good experience if nobody has ever been to a Hawks game before. I mean, when we were younger, we had gotten a couple tickets before they even got huge and back in 09. So that was fun. But no, congrats to you guys for making that.
We're gonna try to make it work. And then it was kind of go ahead.
So I was gonna say, Joe is in the comments, and I know he's got like a ticket plan. Like he meets up with Joey every so often. He's complaining that as long as you don't invite Erin, because I think Erin's never seen a Blackhawks win. I think she's bad luck, the intern. It would be best if you keep her away from the Madhouse on Madison.
That's true. There's one thing they need to change though, because Bedard scored that first goal, and there's no Malort. We can't do the Blackhawks drinking rules. They need to stock Malort in the bars at the United Center. We have to somehow get a petition going. Get Malort in the UC.
They don't even have cup holders. What do you mean?
No, you know what? This is something I had out there because I was not following the Blackhawks game on Sunday, but I do have alerts on for all of the bums tweets, and I know you guys were there with Aaron, with Joey, and everyone else. We might have to postpone the drinking rules until they're better, because just by judging by your tweets, I couldn't tell if the Blackhawks were up by like 3 goals or they were down by, I said they were down by a touchdown, because Joey P's taking shots and you had that group picture and this and that. And it seemed like all awesome by the tweets. And then I checked, I'm like, they're down 2 goals. What the hell's happening?
They would get up, they tie it, they let them tie it, then they get down, then they tie it up again. It was back and forth. But another cool thing too was the bartender that's right behind their section. Joey goes like, "Oh yeah, you gotta meet my bartender John. He takes care of us. He's good. Hooks us up, whatever." Turns out the guy who bartended for a lot of places I promoted back in the day. So I haven't seen the guy like in 10 years. And I was like, "This motherfucker, that's your bartender?" And I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude? Like, just catching up. Like, I haven't talked to him since about 10 years since I stopped promoting." So, yeah, he's up. He's not in the Chicago bars anymore. He said he's at Soldier Field and he's at the United Center.
Well, there we go. That's
so he told me what section he's at for Bears games, and I was like, "Oh shit, I was just there a couple weeks ago. Now I know where to go look for you." So, yeah, that was that's good. That's a sign, right? When you got everything's kind of lining up together. So
everything's coming up Millhouse.
Everything's coming up Millhouse. All right, real quick super chat from the better half. Live from the gym tonight. Here's my monetary support in case I keep getting pulled away from the stream. Love you, fellas. Love you too, Missy. Water tonight because I am detoxing for the week. That was a lot of drinking for the past.
That's probably a good call.
That's good.
Yeah.
A lot of celebratory drinks and everything. All right. Before we bring in our very esteemed leader of men guest, we're gonna get the ad out of the way, pay some bills, and then we're gonna talk a lot of Bears.
Let's do it.
The original Chickies Beef and Chickies Banquet is a proud sponsor of the BumCast. Soup season is here, and your resident soup slut is here to tell you all about Chickies soups. Chickies is serving up their Italian favorites, creamy Tuscan chicken tortellini and the classic Italian wedding soup. You don't want to miss them. These soups are crafted every single day using the freshest ingredients. Come by and give it a try. And with the holiday season fast approaching, it's never too late to start considering your party's catering options. Count on Chickies Beef to cater for your holiday party. That way you can sit back and enjoy the festivities. There are numerous catering options available from the original Chickies Beef that are ideal for any type of gathering. Salads, pastas, entrees, and desserts. And they have 4 different party packages to choose from. Delivery, setup, server, cleanup, and bartender services are also available. Call the restaurant at 708-449-1000 for more information or to place your catering order. That's the original Chickies Beef, 4152 Roosevelt Road in Hillside. And tell them the Bum sent you. Hey, there he is, the one and only Gas Money Bob. Welcome back to the Bum.
Everyone.
We missed you, Bob.
Hey, can you put on just a picture of that sausage tray from Chickies for me? I'm just going to stare at that the whole show.
We can't get you distracted like that. Me and you both would be too busy with the sausage.
I got hungry again.
They look delicious. Mayman Jackson in the comments says Italian wedding soup slaps, and then look at those meatballs. I agree. Look at those meatballs.
All four of us. All the four.
Yeah. He's talking about us, not the food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
So we haven't had you on. You did all 5 of the Hard Knock show, the after show with us. So we said we'd have you back sometime mid-season to talk Bears. And what perfect time to talk some Bears than the firing of Coach Eberflus. But this is he's the past. We're going to talk the future with Gas Money Bob. So we're going to just break down the press conference today. Obviously, that was a shit show. But then we're going to talk about the coaching candidates and who we think is going to be the next person in charge, next leader of men. I'm already kind of annoyed with that phrase from Kevin Warren.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to say that. Well, maybe I'll say it once.
Possibly. Yeah, I mean, Jason mentioned it, but we did the Hard Knock series, the post game show, if you will, and we had a great time doing that with you. We were all excited. Sunshine and rainbows, the Flus glow up. Caleb's gonna be rookie of the year. Everything was, coming up Millhouse, like I just mentioned. And then shit to hit the fan. We haven't talked since. So how have you been going through this Bear season?
Looking back at that, I don't think it was very good. The Hard Knocks. It was probably the worst season ever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if Georgie would have let him throw a little F-bomb here and there. But yeah, I mean, I was willing to let that go. But now that we've had all this turmoil, no, I'm gonna put that one up as the worst season ever.
Yeah, I think we were looking at it through rose-colored glasses. We were all excited about it. The speculation was there forever. And we did say it would have been better with a couple 2-3 F-bombs. But even then, we're like, let's just get this season going. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. And then, just like any other Chicago sports team we root for, shit hit the fan pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, well, not that quickly. It was 4-2 games, 4-2, looking good. Game 7, you come back, you pretty much have it won, right? I thought they won that game. I was celebrating. I couldn't believe it. They didn't deserve it, but they won it. I'm like, that's what good teams do. They win games they're not supposed to. And then the Hail Mary happened, and the whole team fell apart. And here we are.
Yeah. I mean, just epic collapse, and then they never recovered from that. They didn't recover against the Cardinals, against the Patriots, and then the 3 straight division games where you should have beat Green Bay. You should have potentially have beaten the Lions when you're taking the overtime, because they just fell apart in that overtime. So you could have had a chance to win. The Vikings, sorry. And then with the Lions not kicking the field goal. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, they didn't call timeout. They should have called
timeout. I thought you were giving me the timeout.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just I've been doing this since Thursday. Fucking call timeout.
Yeah. So and if you throw in those potential 2 games, and then obviously they should have no business losing against the Colts
or New England.
The Bears should have been at least 7 or 8 wins right now, right? And then we're not even talking about this, but sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, the way the football fumbles, and now here we are. So
right, and but a real coach after the Hail Mary would have gotten the team back together, got them to not worry about that, and forget about the distractions with 29, and just get back focused on the next week. And their coach was not able to do that, and now we're the laughing stock again of the NFL.
I kind of brought this up last week about when Eberflus said he doesn't never take any accountability whatsoever in these press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that and I said, if I was a player on that team, and I would be looking as like, hey, like to me, it looks like you don't one for that Washington game and also for the Minnesota game, it just seemed like he didn't have that confidence, you know what I'm saying? Like to go for it. Very conservative, very, careful about certain things. And that's where they got the losses. Green Bay as well, too, is another one. And I heard the stories about Jalen Johnson with the whole shouting matches and all that stuff. And, I said it like if I was a player, I would be pissed off, and Jalen Johnson is a very, very good player. And the fact that, these players are having enough of the coaches and hey, they want to win. They see it as they have a good team. We like how you said, Jason, we could have easily been 8 wins right now, and we're not. And it's a lot of had to do with the coaching. Yes, do players also have to go and play? Absolutely. But when your coaching is not up to par, when they're doing stupid mistakes, when they're not calling timeouts, when they're not driving the ball on the field when they're supposed to, when they're not getting that extra 10 yards, I mean, this was finally going to blow up. And we talked about it last week. What was it going to take for this team to do something drastic, to fire their coach midseason? That's something that has never done before in the 100 years of the franchise. And, we thought it was going to be a blowout. I think it was the players that finally were just like fed up. Like he lost that locker room a long time ago. I think this was like nail in the coffin.
I think, Jason, we were at the game. We were at the New England game at home where they were dead, lifeless. I think we cheered once for an interception, and then the rest of the time, everyone was dead quiet or chanting "Fire Eberflus." So my question to you guys is, obviously, in hindsight, this is too little, too late, right? Because there was a report out there earlier today from ESPN 1000 saying that apparently Ryan Poles wanted to fire Eberflus after the New England game.
Yep.
And Kevin Warren and the McCaskies didn't let him. I was like, we just talked about coulda, woulda, shoulda. They should have at least have like 7 wins right now, when we're all counting them up, But if they fire him after the Commanders game or at least the Patriots game, this might be a different season right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're probably still actually in the hunt as opposed to being out of the hunt now. Because I don't even if they rattle off go undefeated for the rest of the season, which they're probably not going to do anyways. But I don't see there's no way they can leapfrog 3 teams in their division at this point, right?
Does 9 and 8 make the playoffs?
I don't think
it could.
With the 7. You get 7 people in there now. And the NFC is top heavy, but it's just a lot of people to jump.
I mean, I was worried about this game against the 49ers, but they're beat up. They're playing bad. They lost CMC. They're ripe for the taking. We're going to have that little boost from the interim coach. So
I can't believe we're saying this as a team that's in a downward spiral, but we're catching them at the right time, right?
That's right.
I think we said that in the past other games as well too.
We said it about the Packers. We're catching them at the right time, and
Jaden
Daniels.
Yeah, we said it about the Rams too.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to that press conference, I want to just mention. I don't know if you guys saw Jalen Johnson's comments today. I think he was on 670, and they asked him about Eberflus, and he was basically like, "I'm not talking about that. Like, I don't give a damn anymore about," which you could tell, but was crazy too. One of the things that he came out and said that like when Flus first came in, that he had him on Jalen Johnson on 3rd string team defense, which right then you kind of like, this guy's supposed to be the defensive minded coach, and your best cornerback is on 3rd string to start minicamp. Like, I feel that's pretty egregious, but it sounds like a lot of his stuff was from his blow up and everything was for 5 years of frustration and everything, and just multiple getting sick of losing and getting sick of Eberflus's shit. And the way he made it sound too is like that locker room has been gone for better parts of 5 weeks now. So before we get a press conference, thoughts on Jalen Johnson's comments?
First of all, he's only been losing for 5 years. We've been losing forever. So,
yeah, get used
I
to it,
can't
buddy.
sympathize with him there. What were you going to say, Pete?
No, I think it's surprising because of like the demeanor of Jalen Johnson, or at least knowing him, from the outside, radio and TV hits and stuff like that. But it's not surprising because we've been hearing it all year. The little trickles and the little leaks, Keenan Allen was kind of throwing him under the bus one game. DJ Moore talked about the coaching one game. And then now, Jalen Johnson, like being basically fed up with it. It's not a surprise. The problem was, go ahead.
Sorry, even Fields last year.
Yes, so
it's probably the coaching, right?
That infamous press conference, and when he said probably the coaching, that's where it sucks. And we're gonna get into the press conference in a second, but that's where the disconnect is, because we don't know how much Ryan Poles really has a say in what he wants to do with this football team. There was reports that he thought about firing him in the offseason, and either McCaskey and Kevin Warren said no, give him a shot because of the upward trajectory. There's other reports that say Warren wanted to get rid of him, and Ryan Poles was the loyal one. So it's like, who's really pulling the strings here? But it should have probably happened in the offseason, not, Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No communication or collaboration. George McCaskey very upset that the CNC has not been flowing between those two for a while. So, all right, so let's get into there. So the big thing, the press conference started. Kevin Warren starts talking. First thing, he comes out and he basically says, when they were answering questions, one of the first takeaways was, yes, we could have handled the firing differently. We should have handled it better. He said, hand up, that's on me. That, when he did his press conference, they were still having discussions and they wanted him to, they wanted to talk to him and they can let him call his family before they can, before they release the news and everything like that. And then, well, why was it Friday and not after the game? Well, because it was Thanksgiving. I don't give a fuck what holiday it is. That he should have been fired Thursday afternoon. There shouldn't have been. He had to sleep on it and like, well, that's a big decision. We all had to, come back and regroup Friday morning to talk about it. No, that should have been an easy fucking decision. So again, we have a team president, CEO, who has no fucking idea what he's doing. It sounds like Ryan Pace, the way he was talking and looking, that he was like not interested being there. He was like out of body, like whatever, like who knows what else was on his mind. I think either he was just sick of putting up with their shit, or he can't really say what he really wants to say. But yeah, Kevin Warren, just more of the same team president bullshit that comes out of their mouths, that we're going to get this right. We're going to fucking make this generational hire and we're going to lead the franchise for 10 to 15 years and blah, blah, blah. And it's more just regurgitated George McCaskey bullshit talking points that Bears fans have been hearing for the past fucking 20 years. And I mean, I was okay. You took responsibility for fucking up the firing, but you still should have fucking done it the day before. So let's start off with Kevin Warren. What'd you guys think of his comments?
First of all, yeah, his excuse about, we didn't know if we're going to fire him yet is a bullshit excuse. Don't say, even if that was the case, don't say that in the press conference. You sound like an idiot. You just made it worse. There should have been they should have been talking about that, because that's going to come up. They could have come up with any other reason, like, I don't know, maybe even like, we forgot to tell him that he was fired. Anything is better than, we hadn't made up our mind yet. Like, because everybody in the city of Chicago, except for them, those three guys, made up their mind a long time ago. So I know for George, it's about money too, but how much money? It's pocket change to them. Like, when are they going to realize that they inherited a team, they didn't pay a penny for it, and it's worth what, like $8 billion?
Something like that, yeah.
Cut the shit, and just, Kevin Warren pissed me off that entire press conference. I don't like that guy at all. I don't like that he cut Poles' balls off, and he's not going to let him do what he needs to do as the general manager. And if you don't trust him to be the general manager, then fire him and find someone you do trust.
Yeah, Jason, you talked about Kevin Warren, doing the, just it's almost like coach speak, but it's, president, CEO speak.
Yeah.
It was so condescending the way he started this press conference saying, like, we know that, the Chicago Bears have the best fans in the world. Like, and they keep hammering that point.
He's right.
And that's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, yes, we are cool. As Bears fans, I'm happy, but like, you don't have to say that. Who's sitting there, especially, Joe Q Public, driving a truck and he says the Bears fans have the best fans in the world, or the Bears have the best fans in the world. Who's saying like, yeah, hell yeah. Just give us a goddamn winning organization. That's all we ask for. Some accountability, make the playoffs every couple years and give us a winning franchise. Like, you don't have to fucking, come out there and, sell us a bill of goods that it's just not there, because we know that at the end of the day, the McCaskies are running this thing, and they've been running this thing into the ground for the better part of 3 decades. You're not fooling us anymore. You're not going to sit here and say, this is like one of the best jobs available because of Caleb and because of the team and because of everything else. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's true. And maybe someone's going to want to go out there, but I have no faith that Kevin Warren, or at this point, Ryan Poles, or anybody in that organization is going to do the right thing. The right thing is out there. We're going to talk about the candidates there. There's basically 2 that maybe I think this might be a home run. You can't fuck this up. But we know that's not going to be the case. There's going to be some way they fucked this up. And it's like, all right, man, enough's enough. Like, I have the picture. I should have brought it up when you guys were talking about it. But look, like, Ryan Poles looks like a kid in detention right now. And his dad's talking and he's like, he got neutered today badly. And at this point, he's not without fault. I just want to get that out of the way. He's had some bad decisions. He's made some bad decisions. But in the overall scheme of things, I think he's turned this roster around. We could talk about the O-line, D-line, and the lack of things. But the fact that he wasn't able to hire you could say he hired Eberflus, but he got his choice of 3 people. It wasn't a real search. The Bears, picked 3 guys and said, pick one of these 3 guys. So it wasn't a fair search this last time. And it's probably not going to be the same this time, because Kevin Warren and the McCaskies are going to be middling and meddling all around. They already talked about it's going to be a collaborative effort. And if there is, some dissension, we'll talk it out. Dude, he has no say in the matter. And I'm talking about Ryan Poles. He has no say in the matter, and that's sad.
Yeah. I mean, and I think another thing too is that, like, the fact that they're not on the same page. Obviously, when you're looking at this picture over here, and he's got him by the balls, and how you said, Peter, it's looking like every single organization that we've seen over in the past couple years, with the Bulls organization, with the White Sox organization, like the owners got these GMs and presidents or whatever by the balls, and they can't do what they want to do. So they have to like try to do anything they could possibly can to maneuver it where they'll be like, okay, well, these look like the final candidates. I know we're going to talk about the candidates here in a second and all that, but it's like, do you even really trust these guys, even Kevin Warren, to pick the right candidate as well too? Like, I'm not like happy. Like, yes, we got rid of Eberflus. This reminds me of when we fired Rick Hahn. We were all excited. They were like, man, we've never done something like this before. We were all excited. You guys, we were at the Sox game. We were super excited.
Jason was running in the streets.
I wasn't even supposed to come to the game, and I showed up. Because that's how excited I was. I'm like, wow, this is so exciting. The Bears did something that they never done before. So I'm like, it got me excited. It's like, oh, finally, it looks like they're finally gonna, change things around. But then when you look at this press conference, when you look at the people that are still running this organization, it's like,
bad.
Are you really excited about like what's going to happen? Who are they going to pick? Because I think they might fuck it up again.
Yeah. The one thing about Poles, though, that I did like was he said, hey, I realize what's wrong with this roster, that what needs to be fixed, and in whatever words he used. But he said, he came into a shit show. it takes a little time to fix it, and I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. Yes, he's made a couple blunders, but he's also made a couple really nice moves. You know, we've got, and like Warren said, we do have some pretty good draft capital this year. Let's get Justin Fields on the field though for Pittsburgh, so we could get even better capital. But either way, yeah. I think he understands where the weakness of the team is in the trenches, and if you could fix that by next season, get a decent coach in here, know that's a leader of men, and I think they could really have something. But this head coach decision is a huge one. I mean, it's huge, but they got to get it right. They have to get it right, or else he's out, and Warren should be out, and they should sell the goddamn team.
Yeah. If I'm one of these head coaching candidates, and you have a blue chip prospect in Caleb Williams, like we mentioned, he does have draft capital and a pretty good salary cap this year. I think it's like 80 million.
80 million. It's 80 billion.
Yeah, it's 80 million in salary cap. Like, that's pretty enticing. Like, all of that is really enticing, but it's still like, do you want to come here and work for a mom and pop organization that really don't know what they're doing? It's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you were talking about like Ryan Poles, like he didn't get to choose Eberflus, because you remember, like, when after they fired,
Nagy,
Pace and Nagy, like when they did all that, like, because the McCaskies and Ted Phillips at the time, they're not football guys. They don't know football. They bring in the outside consultants. They were already interviewing the head coaches before they hired the GM. So they started this process because we don't want to be behind the ball. We want to make sure we interview the right candidates and get the best guy in here. And then the GM will have the right say. Like, they did everything backwards, like they continue to do. They should have focused on the GM and let him pick the guys he wanted to interview. But instead, you said, Peter, like, he was given 3 choices, and he picked wrong, but like, how much of that pick, was actually George strong-arming, like, oh, I really like this Eberflus guy from Indy, and like, and maybe it's because he gave off too many nice guy vibes, right? Because that's McCaskey's MO. Like, he doesn't want alpha males. And then now you kind of realize that, the whole leader men shit, like, you kind of need like a fucking, Mike Tomlin kind of, Dan Quinn kind of person to, get in there and fucking kick asses and take names and keep them in check. So hopefully that is gonna be changed, and maybe hopefully Poles learn from it, because there was a report that came out that after the firing that Kevin Warren was going to be leading the search, and Poles was going to have his input in it. And then today he came out and said that Ryan Poles is running point on it, and then we're all going to communicate and collaborate and circle jerk each other off until we figure out the right candidate. So they're just talking out of their ass, like both ends, like who's actually running the show. And I have a feeling that if Poles wants this certain guy, that the 2 knuckleheads above him are going to be like, yeah, but maybe we should go with this guy. Like, that's the whole Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams shit. Rick Hahn wanted to do this, Kenny Williams, and was like, nope, we're not going to do that. So it's the whole fucking Chicago sports mantra that, like, the person in charge can't be the fucking person in charge, and the person who actually is in charge is a fucking idiot, right? So,
and I'm glad Joe, Colonel Bourbon's and it's Trace Armstrong, something we haven't really talked about on this podcast specifically, but we've had this similar situation once before where Jerry Reinsdorf is taking outside input by someone like Kenny Williams and stuff like that. And Trace Armstrong is that little finger for the Chicago Bears. That's a Game of Thrones reference. People don't, I've never seen the show, but he's basically the outside spy whispering in the ear. And if you realize, Trace Armstrong, the agent, had clients that are Ryan Pace, Matt Eberflus, and Matt Nagy, were all Trace Armstrong hires. And Trace Armstrong, right, former Bear, you love your former Bears and this different things like that. He's the wrench in this equation. He's the wild card in this equation, because he's going to have a say, whether we like it or not, on what the Bears are going to do. He's had a say, for a long time. Before they got Kevin Warren, they wanted Trace Armstrong to be the head of the football operations for the Bears. And he's probably like, hell no, I'm making too much money representing every goddamn coach in the league. So no, thank you. But I'm still going to be whispering in your ear to get my guys and myself paid.
Yep. So, again, I will say the press conference itself was an utter fucking shit show and failure by all intents and purposes. But I will say, Thomas Brown, when he gave up on the podium and took questions, he had me ready to run through a fucking brick wall. Like, goddamn, that guy was. He is. I could see why the locker room respects him now and like are willing to buy into him and listen to him, because the first thing one of the first things he said was, yeah, you know what, like, I'm just as accountable for all this as well. Like, this is, I was part of this, this is just as much as my fault it is everyone else's fault. So he's already like just got me ready. Like I said, I'm fucking ready. Now, is he going to be the head coach come 2025? Who knows? But as in the interim for right now, I'm very impressed from what I'm seeing. I'm very excited that he can actually make conscious, smart decisions as a football coach and not fuck up end of games anymore. But man, I feel like they finally at least had a good voice when normally their press conferences are just mundane, blah, bland shit.
And this would be just like the Bears, right? To stumble into something you didn't know you had. Thomas Brown seems like a breath of fresh air. He's like decisive and to the point and a matter of fact. And us as Chicago Bears fans, we like that. We like that. Julie's in the comments, and I'm not just saying that. It was just the way he carries himself. It's a little Mike Tomlin like, right? He answers your question. He doesn't get there's no bullshit coach speak, and it's kind of nice. And it is a breath of fresh air. So my question to you guys is, what can Thomas Brown do right now to keep his job? Like, in your opinion, take, McCaskey's and George and Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, in your eyes, what does he have to do to keep his job? Because he's in pole position, whether we like it or not. He's going to have a 5-game, audition that the other candidates aren't going to have. So what can he do to keep his job? I'll start with you, Bob.
I think that, well, first of all, from the notes that I had on him, before I go into that, he talks the part, right? He sounds like a coach. He sounds like he could be a good head coach. I loved his little line about being violent, and
yes,
that was awesome. And then people around the league also speak very highly of him. And you could say he's, a lot of people are saying, well, he's inexperienced, but he was the assistant head coach to McVay when they won a Super Bowl. He was an offensive coordinator for a little bit with Carolina, but that was more Frank Reich than him. And yeah, sure. How was he from passing game coordinator to head coach? Who the hell knows how they missed out on somebody that could move that direction? But I think what he needs to do to be a serious contender is win at least 3 of these last 5 games, and Caleb Williams has to look great, and the team has to show that the 2 coaches that are gone were the problem, not the players.
I think another thing too that and I don't know how much say Caleb Williams is going to have in the next coach as well too, but he's done really good under Thomas Brown. You could see the difference between what we had before and then what Thomas Brown came in, and those last 3 games he's been doing a lot better yardage wise and all that, and touchdowns, and less interceptions. So he's been doing good under Thomas Brown, and the offense has been putting up a lot more points, yardage, and whatnot under him. Yes, I do like the verbiage that he's also mentioning as well too. I think it's great. I think it's a good message. It does, Peter, you mentioned Mike Tomlin. It does give that feeling of a Mike Tomlin feeling. And I love Mike Tomlin. I think he is a great coach. And the thing about it all is too, is that, what, who knows that what might happen. It's kind of like, players setting up. I'm not comparing this like apples and oranges over here or whatnot, but you know, when Drew Bledsoe, he got knocked out, and all of a sudden Tom Brady came. Nobody knew anything about Tom Brady and all of a sudden he became one of the best like players of all time. I'm not saying Thomas Brown's going to be just like that, but you never know. You never know. He's saying a lot of things that we want to hear that a lot of coaches we haven't heard since, I don't know, maybe Ditka, you know, just talking, you know, the way that, or even Lovie Smith too, because Lovie Smith had a very good track record as well too as a Bears coach. But I hope he does well. Like I said, he deserves it. Like he come up from the ranks. You know, you mentioned Sean McVay coming from that tree as well too. You know, that's a very good tree to come out of as well too. So I think having that mindset and having, you know, him being under that tree, I think that, you know, hopefully everything does go well with him. I know there's other candidates we're going to talk about here. But, you know, I wish him nothing but the best. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. It's like kind of like, you know, he came from just being an assistant or whatever. And now he's the head coach. Nobody ever thought he was going to be the head coach. He didn't even think he was going to be the head coach, but he's carrying himself very well. And that's what I like about him as well, too, is that he's ready to be the coach, to lead this team. Seems like a lot of players are having the respect as well, too. So I'm ready. I'm ready for this Thomas Brown, these next 5 games and see what he can do.
Hold on, Sam, shut up. Sorry.
Where does what is he talking about?
He said Aaron Rodgers for head coach.
I might block. We barely ever block anybody on this show. We're gonna have to block Sam Ass. Yeah, I think the quote you mentioned, Bob, it was like football is a violent sport, and those that play it violently are rewarded. I was like, oh hell yes! I'm like, that is nothing like you've ever heard Eberflus or Nagy say. So
you know what I thought?
Rock hard, baby. Rock hard, baby.
I thought of Dan Campbell's kneecap comment.
The kneecaps, yes. And that's basically what we're looking for, right? They talk about the leader of men, but someone that garners respect and goes out there and earns the respect. I think it really is, you know, 4 wins, but more importantly, the Caleb progression. We've seen how much better he is without Shane Waldron. And if you get that going, you know, 2-3 touchdowns a game, and especially like, you know, close to 300 yards a game for the rest of the season, it comes down to Caleb vouching for him too. I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. If they go, you know, 3-2 or even lose most of the games because they're a bad team, they're probably going to lose more than they win. But the offense looks better and Caleb vouches for him. I think that's going to go a long way.
You know, Caleb actually, I mean, my math could be wrong, but I think if he averages like 250 a game, he'll get to 4,000 yards.
Yeah, I had a chart up there. Yeah, I think it's a little bit over 250 or right around 250.
Yeah, so I mean, he would be the first one ever as a rookie. That'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, all right. So
let's break these down.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the next candidate, if you will. But if I just tell you Thomas Brown is the next head coach, give me like a grade how happy you would be with that.
I mean, he's an unknown for me right now, right? So if he did the 4 wins and Caleb's chucking the football and they hired him, then I would be like, okay, I'll give that like, you know, B+, A-. But for right now, like, if it's kind of just status quo and they hire him, that's going to feel like lackluster to me.
It's tough to judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say in the middle.
Go ahead. Yeah, what'd you say?
No, I was going to say like in the middle as well too. It's kind of hard to like judge him because he hasn't done anything just yet. You know, he's been the offensive coordinator, but I mean, if he gets to that point and this offense continues to gel and they do win, where, you know, it's close. I think another thing too is if it's close games and he's winning them, I think that's another good thing as well too, is that, you know, he's doing something with a team that doesn't have a really good offensive line, and it's the same team that Eberflus couldn't do. Then I'd probably be like, okay, like, you know, for it being 5 games left in the season, I mean, it's still hard to tell because it's just only 5 games left, and you are still facing top talent. Like, you still got to face the Lions again. You still got to face the Vikings. You still got to face the Packers. You know, we talked about San Francisco. They're kind of like on the, you know,
Seahawks are
Seahawks mid. Yeah. So I would say C.
Can we stop? I mean, he has to win games. But
yes,
my first eyeball test is win a challenge. Win a goddamn, throw the red flag and win a challenge, and I'm popping a bottle of Weller because I'm going to be so happy for this guy. So we'll start with the challenge, and then we'll start with winning games.
Yeah.
All right.
And like you said, as long as he doesn't regress from what he's been doing now, and they look competent, and he's not making mistakes. If they end up hiring him, it won't be the end of the world. It just won't be like, I wouldn't be like jumping for joy, but I think I'd be okay with it, but not like thrilled about it.
All right. So who are we talking next? Ben Johnson?
We got Ben Johnson. The bell of the ball. I think everyone we as the BumCast have been talking about Ben Johnson for the better part of a year, I think. We have our guy from Detroit, Bob Pants, who likes to heckle us and stuff like that. But I've always said that I think Ben Johnson is the brains of the operation, while Dan Campbell is the rah-rah leader of men. I don't know how that like once the X's and O's thing happens, it's Ben Johnson really, getting the ball rolling. So I think that's, target 1A. I think, are we all agreeing that that's
I think that's, I mean, you watch this team and, the second half of the Bears game was a little different. It feels like they pulled their foot off the gas. But if you watch some of those Lion games, they just seem to score at will. And yes, they have a lot of good skill players, but they just seem to spread the ball around. Like everybody's getting a taste of it. It's not like you're force feeding Justin Jefferson or, Jamar Chase or something like that. Everybody is eating on that team, right? You have two fucking amazing running backs, and the fact that they seem to just like that, whatever his scheme is, that they just seem to go around there and score at will, putting up, 7 touchdowns against the Jags a couple of weeks ago. That's the kind of offensive output that we have. Because I think we can all safely assume that down the road, Caleb Williams will be better than Jared Goff. And fingers crossed, right? And you have DJ Moore and Rome with him to grow for the next few years. I mean, obviously Keenan's probably not coming back, but you have your Amaron, you have your Williams, you got and then DeAndre Swift
Hawkinson.
Hawkins. You got those pieces that he's working with and succeeding with on the Lions. So I think, he is definitely 1A. And I think maybe the Bears are hoping that they hire Ben Johnson and they keep Thomas Brown as the OC.
Bob, I think you had the same thing as I was thinking as well, too.
You know what Ben Johnson has that we don't have? The best offensive line in football.
Penei Sewell is a people mover, and they got 4 other guys that are people movers. Meanwhile, we got guys that should be working at the Home Depot. It really is. That's a difference. But knowing what he has in Detroit and working with Ryan Poles, you would think with 3 draft picks in the first 55, you should be able to rebuild that offensive line pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think while you have all those gadgets and I mean, they're, all pro talent, that offensive line in Detroit is really the thing that gets people moving. That's why, Dave Montgomery looks the way he does. DeAndre Swift looks the way that he does. And Jared Goff. No one believed Jared Goff would be this Pro Bowl borderline MVP type of player.
And
Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson is, making him look like that.
Yeah, when you have the protection that Jared Goff does, and even the running backs, David Montgomery was good with us, and he's doing even better. Why? Because he has a great offensive line. I mean, there's no secret as to why they're doing so well. And I'm not taking the talent from Gibbs or Montgomery. They're hell of running backs. But what I'm saying, when you do have that protection, it does make a huge difference. And the thing I like, kind of getting back to Thomas Brown, and I'm pretty sure if Ben Johnson was going to be the head coach, Caleb Williams started throwing the ball a lot quicker, and that's a good sign. He's learning from his mistakes as we go along. Ben Johnson, he's been with the Lions for quite a bit now, and would that be the top of the tier? Getting him as a candidate seems like it's a big favorite for anybody. Yes, would I want to have him as a coach? Yes. But my whole thing is that I kind of get scared is that why are we going after coaches that are just haven't had head coaching positions as well too? I know we're going to get to some other candidates here in a second who have, coaching, head coaching experience and all that, but is this going to be like kind of like a Matt Nagy type of thing where, he had that whole thing with the whole experience and being an offensive guru and all that when he had all these pieces. But when he came to the Chicago Bears, that first season, he had success. I mean, we went to the playoffs and all that, but it just started dwindling down after that. Like, you just have to have the pieces in order to do part of the puzzle over here. And I just think that, if Ben Johnson comes here, that Poles has to hit home runs on this offensive line first. You have to start building that up. And I just think the thing is that, I would like to have him here, but I do have questions,
Yeah. I think the difference between him and Nagy is Nagy was just the offensive coordinator by name. The offensive coordinator was Reed, right?
You're right.
And Johnson's running that entire offense. He's the head coach of the offense, and I watched a press conference with him today just for research purposes, and I really like how he talks, how he sounds. He's super smart, right? And I think he's not as gruff as Campbell is, but he's still like, still seems like, he would command the room and the team would, follow him. So I don't know. I think there's a huge difference between him and Nagy. Being the play caller 100% of the time thing is definitely different. It's his offense. It's not Campbell's offense. It's his. So, you know what I'm saying? So I think I get what you're saying, but I think that there's a big difference there. I wouldn't be as worried about Ben Johnson as, to be a Nagy clone,
The thing that stands out and the thing that I really like, well, one, I mean, obviously he's going to end the year this year and it's going to be, top 5 offenses the last 3 years. But more importantly, he could have gone anywhere he wanted last year, and he was pragmatic and stayed with the Lions, not half because he thought maybe they win a championship this year, but the other half, he wants to go to an organization that he knows he can win with immediately. So what gives me, hope, it's not the front office and it's not the owners, but if Ben Johnson does decide to come to the Bears, that in my head makes me think, oh, he thinks we could win immediately. And that's where, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid I'm getting all excited about, because he is pragmatic and he thinks things thoroughly, and he's an X's and O's guy, and he knows he's biding his time. He's biding his time to go to a good spot. And there's rumors, there's tea leaves this weekend that he's might be interested. I think Schefter put that out there. So if he would be interested and he does come here, they're gonna have to park the Brinks truck. I know that for a fact, and the McCaskies might not want to do that. He might be the highest paid head coach, and he's never coached a game or head coach in his life. But that's what you got to do. You got to make the big splash. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. So if he does decide to come here, and it's not even like, oh, the Bears decided to hire him. No, it's Ben Johnson decides to come here. I'm excited.
Yep. All right, who we got next?
All right. Well, we talked about a head coach or a head coach, that's coached games before and a leader of men. And it's, former Tennessee's head coach, Mike Vrabel. He's, I think, if you just read Twitter right now, I think Bears Twitter specifically are the ones split on we need a Mike Vrabel type or we need a Ben Johnson type. So I'm in on the Ben Johnson, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion on Mike Vrabel.
All right. So obviously he was like a good coach with, Tennessee. And he seems like he is that, there it is, or is that word again, phrase again, leader of men. My only thing with him is that, like, I don't equate Tennessee to those high-powered offenses. Yes, they had, DeAndre Hopkins for all the time. But they also had Derrick Henry and Vrabel, defensive guy. I think he was linebacker or something like that, or when he played. But like, I don't know. He seems. I don't want to go with another defensive-minded coach again. We need an offensive mind, and I feel like if he comes in, he's going to be a run the ball kind of guy, and then that sets up the play action. Like I think personality wise he'd be good for the Bears. I just don't think if scheme wise that's what this team needs at this moment for him.
Yeah.
And just real quick too, a lot of rumors Ryan Day gets fired that he's tied with Ohio State. So Ohio State would throw the fucking Brinks truck at him too, because college football coaching money is ridiculous in of itself. So I have a feeling that whispers and rumors of him replacing Ryan Day already probably takes him out of the Bears running, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to Ohio State if Day gets fired, right? 100%. I think Vrabel would have been a better hire last year, right? Because then you could bring in a guy like Kingsbury to be your offensive coordinator with him, and that could have worked, But unless there's like a stud offensive coordinator that you could bring in with him, but you don't know who that is because everybody else is assistant coaches or passing game coordinators, running back coaches. You don't know if they're good at it or not. So you can't bring in a defensive coach unless you know you're going to have a great offensive coordinator with him. And I don't think you're going to be able to bring in Vrabel and keep Thomas Brown. So I like you said, I don't want a defensive minded coach. The Bears need an offensive minded coach. We finally have a decent quarterback. You have to do everything you can to make him as good as he possibly can be.
Yeah. And one of my questions was going to be that, like, say Thomas Brown does do a good enough job to where the Bears want to keep him, would you be okay with Vrabel if, Thomas Brown was the offensive coordinator in that scenario?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it depends on now those are two alphas. Different. Are they going to clash,
Yeah.
So
I think we need more alphas in that locker room, because the players are just kind of like, you got some veterans mixed with a lot of young guys as well too. And Vrabel, he doesn't take any shit from anybody. He is going to discipline that team. He's going to do everything he can to get them not making stupid penalties. He's going to call the timeouts when he should. Peter, you mentioned red flags when you're supposed to challenge and get them right. And he has head coaching experiences. He's took the Titans to the AFC Championship game. The only thing though is that with him, and plus he was under probably, what would you say, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. He was under
Belichick.
So yeah, so the thing is that he has that lineage of that, and being on a 3-time Super Bowl championship team. He has led teams to the Super Bowl, so he has a playoff experience as well too. But like another thing too, and Bob, you're right. I've always, it seems like the Bears' history has always been defensive minded head coaches. And now that it seems that we finally got that quarterback. It's like I said, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx us. It seems like we finally got that quarterback and we got the pieces in place to get us to the next level, to make this offense look, like a Chiefs, like a Eagles, like a Ravens type of team. And if we get the right offensive minded coach, I don't think Vrabel is that type of guy. And Jason, you mentioned the Ohio State thing. That might be a huge possibility. The fact that Dave's been 1-4 against Michigan might have already just pretty much closed the deal.
I think I think he has to win a national championship this year for him to keep his job. Yeah, I think Dave's a dead man walking otherwise.
Yes, they're calling for Urban Meyer back again.
I would like that just for the content, to tell you the truth. The last thing on Vrabel, he was 2021 Coach of the Year. He's 9 games over 500 for his career and 2-3 in the playoffs. As much as he built a winning organization with the Tennessee Titans, they were 9-7 for 2 years. They had 2 really good years. Nothing really stands out about Mike Vrabel for me. So if it's up to me, I'd rather pass. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Cliff Kingsbury. So
offensive minded ties to Caleb.
Yeah. Here's my thing. And it all sounds good, right? On paper, you got, like you said, the ties with Caleb at USC. You see what he's doing with Jalen Johnson, or I'm sorry, with fucking blank on his name, Washington,
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Thank you. But then you saw what happened in Arizona, right? So that just like it left such a sour taste in my mouth with the way that when he had young Kyler Murray and everything, and it's just like I don't know, man. Like it sounds all good, but then it's just I feel like this is going to be one of those things like when the Sox sign a free agent and he's supposed to be really good, and then he comes on the team and then they all fucking just decide to get injured or not hit anymore. Like I feel like this is gonna be one of those things where the resume speaks better than the actions. So
yeah, but he could buy Eberflus's house and take pictures during the draft of him sitting, in the living room with the glass windows. That was him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice ass house that he had. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna depend on how much say Caleb Williams has with this hire. And to tell you the truth, while I want to keep Caleb Williams happy, a good and proper organization doesn't give say to a rookie quarterback. So do you trust Caleb Williams or do you trust Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren? I don't trust any of them, but I'm out on Cliff too. I'm not interested in Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't even think he even comes here because they had the opportunity last year.
Yeah.
And obviously they didn't take him then. What makes you think they're going to take him now? Especially that now Caleb is doing pretty well for himself, without Cliff. Yes, they got the ties and all that. I just don't think that's going to be a realistic thing when they could have got him last year.
How bad did you have to fuck up your interview to get beat out by Shane Waldron?
Well, ask Thomas Brown.
Like what the fuck, Cliff Kingsbury? You were one interview possibly away from being, back with Caleb Williams, and you
apparently Shane Waldron, according to to Keenan, was too nice of a guy. So because George was probably part of that, he's like, I really like this nice guy. He doesn't swear. He doesn't get mean. I think this is the guy we should go with. Like that's a George hire right there. Nice guys.
I'm glad you bring up, Keenan Allen. We've talked about DJ Moore and Jalen Johnson really being vocal, now that Matt Eberflus is gone. My last name is a defensive guy, but I wanted to put him on there because of what Jalen Johnson's been saying. The thing that worries me is that whatever hire this happens is going to be a riff in the locker room because it sounds like we want to go, offense and nurture Caleb Williams. And this is how the league is going and this and that. But the Bears were a dominant defense for the better part of the last 2.5 seasons. And now obviously they've fallen off, but there's a lot of alphas on that side of the room. And they're talking about like them needing a leader of men. So this is a guy in Minnesota that can call a good defensive game plan with a decent, or, I want to say better than decent offensive coordinator. Would you give Brian Flores a shot?
I mean, he kind of got a short end in Miami. I feel like they ousted him a little too quickly for that. But I mean, yeah, he's Minnesota's defense. We all joked that it was supposed to like how bad it was, and then he came in, disguising blitzes, unique blitzes, all that stuff. Like Minnesota's defense pretty solid. But again, we've done the defensive guys so much in the Bears. Obviously Nagy was an exception to the rule that kind of soured them. Trestman was another one that's like, so I feel like they do too many defensive guys, and it's just, no, we need to get into modern day football. And I wouldn't mind Brian Flores if he wanted to do a lateral move as DC, but I don't want him as.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, that would never happen. But
no.
All right, you guys, same reaction. Not interested.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I really don't want a defense, and I wouldn't mind the defensive guy, like I said, but who's going to be the offensive coordinator?
Yeah,
there's I don't know who the up and coming guys are. I mean, obviously you want someone from like the Shanahan tree or something, but like who is that? And is Caleb going to be cool with them, or are they going to be another Shane Waldron, who was also from the Shanahan tree, right? So I think, right? Pretty sure.
Well, yeah, Shanahan.
Yeah. So, it's like, are you going to get a Shane Waldron again, or a what's the guy from Green Bay that we had last year that got fired by the Raiders?
Getsy.
Yeah. I mean, like, those guys are like the same guy, right?
Time a dozen, yeah.
And they both come from like the same lineage. So let's, I want a proven guy leading the offense. That's why I think the head coach needs to be the coach, and the OC are basically the play caller. And then you get an up and comer to be the OC, and then teach him how to do it right. And then maybe then you could sometimes give him the play calling or whatever if you need to. But yes, I'm dead set on offensive coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ben Johnson 1-1, number one with a bullet, and then everyone else has like their warts and their flaws. Some college options. I know a couple people in the comments were talking about college options. I got Lincoln Riley because his history with Caleb Williams. The name floating around the last 2 days, Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, which I thought that was like an obvious play by his agent to try to get him paid. Like, I like that move. I respect that move, but there's no reason why they should be sniffing around Notre Dame for their head coach. And then I put Dan Lanning in there, one, because I think he's a really good coach and a leader of men, but I also wanted to troll my man Bruhan Luke in the comments.
Yeah, I don't want any college options. It needs to be NFL experience or bust. Yep.
I don't even, Peter, you're right. I don't even think Marcus Freeman would want to come here. Anyways, he's got a really good thing going on in Notre Dame right now. They're ranked number 4 right now. So, I just don't think that he's going to want to leave something to go to the Bears, even though Bears seem like a very sought out type of like head coaching position. I just think that, he has a good thing going on in Notre Dame right now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm skipping. I'm not interested in a, college coach for now. You have to hit a home run with this hire, and there's too many variables. I'm going to go this next group. I'm going to call them the olds, but there's a lot of people. If you listen to sports radio, I'm not even saying Bears Twitter, but if you're listening to the Score,
the Score, those are all like the guys in their 60s, 70s calling, talking about 85 Bears. So yeah, of course, Ron Rivera is going to be on that list.
I'm going with the olds.
Before you even start, fuck Mike McCarthy. No way.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there's no chance in hell I would, because you saw what he did with Dallas year after year, and he somehow cannot get himself. I feel like he's trying to get fired in Dallas, and he just can't get fired. But whatever. No, Ron Rivera, we saw what he did with Washington and Carolina. Like that, no, thank you. Love you, Ron, but no. John Gruden, too many warts, and he's with Barstool now, so Barstool's probably paying him handsomely. So
Barstool's gonna pay him more than the Bears would. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I put these on the list because of the radio callers and a lot of older people. Like, we need an old school type. Obviously, Ron Rivera, has ties with the Bears and everyone loves him. But this is if they hire any of these guys, and no disrespect to Bill Belichick, obviously he's legend of the game, tier 1 Hall of Fame. On par with best coach of all time.
Hall of Fame.
A lot of that. But I'm not interested in any of these guys.
Yeah. I would like
Carroll and Belichick.
If they did hire Bill Belichick, I wouldn't be like angry, like super upset with it. But my only thing would be like, how much longer would he want to coach then? Right? I mean, he's going to come in for a couple years. He's like what? He's 70,
he hates Caleb, by the way. He hates Caleb Williams.
Yeah, well, yes, he does. But like, he's like what, in his late 70s? He's got a fucking 25-year-old girlfriend. Why the fuck would he, want to spend extra time with the Bears? So I figure you hired him. He's going to put in a couple years, and then you're going to be doing this whole search all over again.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Note all those guys.
Note all those. Yeah, I think that was a given. So now this next list I called the randos, but if I was a betting man and Ben Johnson is off the table, this is probably the list of where the Bears as an organization is going to hire from. So I've got Joe Brady, Liam Cohen, Arthur Smith, and Kellen Moore. No disrespect by calling you guys randos, because you guys are all accomplished in your own rights. but it's Ben Johnson and then these guys. So comments, I know you guys are chirping right along with us, and we appreciate you guys. Out of this group, there's a good possibility this is your next head coach for the Chicago Bears. Who are you hoping for? Whether it's Joe Brady,
a couple of these guys
out of this group, probably Joe Brady. From the short little bit of research I did on all these guys before the show, I think, I like what he's doing in Buffalo. I think, wasn't so great in Carolina, but obviously he's got a talented quarterback, so he's got something to work with. So I kind of like what he's doing. Plus weather similarities, so he knows how to play, call games in bad weather. They look pretty good last night. So I would say Joe Brady out of this list. Liam Cohn reminded me too much of like Getsy and Waldron.
He's a little less. He's a hot commodity, doing what he's doing with the Bucks and I'm blanking on the quarterback right now. Baker Mayfield. Yeah, doing what he's doing with Baker Mayfield. I think a lot of people have thought like Liam Cohen is the next, Ben Johnson. So you want to get the guy before the guy. So right. Joe Brady with Buffalo. The only thing that worries me about Buffalo and Joe Brady is the same thing. We talked about this 3 years ago. We wanted Brian Daboll as the guy. He was going to be the guy. And how much of that was actually Josh Allen being the guy and not Brian Daboll? That worries me about Joe Brady as well.
Yeah, but Joe Brady gets Caleb Williams, not Daniel Jones. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then Arthur Smith and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was another hot name almost 5 years ago at this point. He was the next guy, the heir apparent in the Cowboys organization. He had a pretty decent offense at the time, and he's had a couple different offenses since, including this year with the Eagles. But like he got railroaded when Jerry Jones did Jerry Jones things and hired Mike McCarthy. And everyone thought like it was Kellen Moore's job, and it was going to be his job. So Kellen Moore might be a guy that, you see he's got the resume, you probably don't have to pay him as much. I could see the Bears looking at this and being like, the Eagles have a good offense. He's had success with Dallas. Maybe it's a Kellen Moore type of hire for the Bears.
Yeah, I could see that.
I would maybe lean more so towards Liam Cohen, just because, look, Baker was almost on his way out to be a bust, and he revitalized Baker to a certain extent. And that offense with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, like that was a pretty like potent offense. Like they were putting up, Baker's throwing 3-4 touchdowns a game on that. Like that offense was clicking a lot. And obviously when you lose your best receivers, the offense is going to change dramatically. But I really think I like what they did in Tampa Bay. So I would, that's probably be my pick would be Liam.
You know what? I have a very, very gut feeling in my stomach right now. Looking at these names right now, I kind of feel like one of these guys is going to be the Bears' next head coach.
I'm telling you right now, Johnny. I'm telling you right now, it's a good possibility. One of these four guys.
Something tells me that it's not going to be who we want. Even if we, even Ben Johnson is begging on his knees to say, yeah, I want to come to the Chicago Bears. They're probably looking at these guys and be like, yeah, Joe Brady does look kind of pretty good. And, Liam Cohen looks pretty good as well, too. I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get the guy that deserves it and will lead us to to the Super Bowl. But something in my gut feeling, I look at these names, I'm like, fuck. These might be one of the next head coaches of the Chicago
If you're a betting man, I would sprinkle some money on them being the next Bears head coach, because I could see it. I got two last ones, Jay. And I call these the wild cards. Yumper was in the comments earlier, and he said trade for Sean McVay. I've seen that a couple of things. And it's Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. There's a little bit of rumors Kyle Shanahan might be on the outside in the 49ers organization. I don't believe that whatsoever. I think it'd be dumb if the 49ers got rid of Kyle Shanahan. If Kyle Shanahan is available, I think he jumps the list. I'd rather have him.
I think he's 1A.
Both of these guys are insta hires.
Agreed. So that was going to be my question to the group. I don't think either of these guys will be available, but there's a chance, especially an owner like the Rams. He likes to make a splash. He likes to do crazy things. He gave up all that draft capital to win one Super Bowl, which was the right move to do. But he is a outside of the box thinker, and we've seen coaches get traded in the past. Now, I'm not saying the Bears organization is outside the box thinkers, but if you're trying to make a splash, you're trying to make a move. Sean McVay, if you're maybe able to trade for him, a possibility. But the main one is Kyle Shanahan, if he is on the outs in the 49ers organization. I think both these guys jump immediately to the top of the list.
I have a feeling, again, we are talking about the Chicago Bears organization. If these guys were to be open, you were talking about thinking outside the box. The only box that the Chicago Bears have is the fucking Jack in a Box, because they're fucking delusional and they will never, even if these guys were available, they probably still wouldn't even get these guys because they don't go that route. Well, the coaches that we looked back, I would hope they would. You know, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, they have very successful coaching careers, but I just still feel like even if they were open, Bears wouldn't even have wouldn't even go that route.
And
that's just my opinion.
Both those guys are going to want calls on personnel too. Which Poles is even his other set of balls is cut off.
But at that point, you've cucked Poles once. Once a cuck, always a cuck. You gotta have to cuck him for Kyle Shanahan at this point.
Yeah.
Go sit in your chair, Ryan, and let Kyle do his work.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go sit in your cup chair. Let Kyle do all the work.
But that's fine. I would do whatever it takes to get those two, either one of those guys here, and now we're cooking.
All right. So that's our list. I think Ben Johnson, we all said 1-1. Out of all those guys we just talked about, Ben Johnson's off the table. Who's your next up? Who's your number 2?
If it would be Kyle Shanahan if he comes available. If not, it would probably be one of the ones from the list. I would probably say for me, Liam Cohen, or probably Kellen Moore. Then I don't know if I would want the dude from Buffalo.
I might take the chance on Mike Vrabel as being coach, but like with the ties with Ohio State right now, it might not be a shot. I probably would say either Ben Johnson, not Ben Johnson, Joe Brady. I'm sorry. Joe Brady might be like somebody because he's been having that success with running. Like I said, he's doing a hell of a job with the Bills right now. Bills look like a very good contender to finally get to the Super Bowl. So I would say if we can't get Ben Johnson, it probably would be Joe Brady.
Yeah, I would say depending on what Thomas Brown does to finish the season.
Yeah,
if he looks really good, then I'll be fine with that. Otherwise, I'm with you, Johnny. Joe Brady probably, but I don't know how thrilled I'd be about that.
I'm getting Grady Sizemore by Thomas Brown. I'm not gonna lie. It's because we talk about like the dead cat bounce, and like Pedro Grifo got out of there, and Grady Sizemore basically had the same record as him, but he was handsome and he could talk to the media, and everyone's like, hell yeah, we got someone different. I don't want to say that for Thomas Brown because he has done well with the media, but hopefully he wins a couple games. But he's winning me over. He's winning me over.
The difference is people are going to watch these Bears games no matter what. No one was watching the White Sox.
That's so we were there, Bob.
Me especially. I didn't watch a single.
Yeah, I was still at games.
More game, so I have no idea if he was good or bad.
The one thing we are missing though is we don't know which head coaches are going to be fired come Black Monday, right? So
that's another.
There might be some potential new openings that
Well, and there might be more candidates too, right?
Yeah, there could be more candidates that pop in the list that we're not thinking of that all of a sudden get fired.
The Bengals head coach is a good one to watch because there might be. I just saw a couple things today that are like, I think Burrow, Chase, and everyone else is starting to really be unhappy with it.
Yeah,
but that would be the thing. Like, why would you want somebody who's not unhappy?
No. Bears were unhappy. No. I'm saying that if the Bengals head coaching opens up, that's everyone's going to.
Johnson's definitely going there.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, no. Okay. I was saying that becomes immediately the number one landing place for any of these coaches.
No, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. Womp womp. All right, let's get to a quick super chat. Johnny was right.
Congrats, Johnny. Congrats for being right.
Okay.
Oh, geez. Amazing that she'll agree with you, huh?
Yeah.
It's still early on.
right.
It's still early on.
She doesn't agree with me everything.
We've been talking a lot of Bears, but we have to quick pay our own bills. Get you to buy some merch. Big Cartel is the official home of Chicago Sports Bums merch. Help support your favorite podcast by buying a couple of two-tree shirts. We got socks, Bears, Hawks, and Bum branded threads. And all of our shirts are unisex sizes. Remember, all the proceeds go back directly into our Whiskey at Comiskey tailgates that keeps them free for everyone. And keep an eye out for new shirts coming very soon. So visit shysportsbums.bigcartel.com today. All right, so Bob, we're going to end our show with bumming some people. You want to stick around and bum some people?
Yeah, I don't have any prepared, but I'll listen in, and I'm sure I'll come up with something.
All right, cool. That works for us because as always, we got to end the show with our bums and MVBs of the week.
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
You call me a bum? My man, I take that with pride, with honor, that I'm a bum. I'm the king of the bums, baby.
Because you're training like a damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum.
Bum.
All right, bum. Let's get to our listener. What are bums and MVBs? First up, Gordo, MVB. Guess me, Bob, for being on the show. Yes.
Hell yeah, Bob.
Gordo,
Welcome back.
Feeling good, buddy.
And bum of the week, Diaju, for changing times and going up against the BumCast. Hey, old school Monday Night Wars, man. You know.
Yeah, we're in a ratings
wrestling
war with the beef loaf. That'll be interesting to see. I'm actually gonna watch the show as soon as this is over. He's got Barstool.
Loaf's in the chat.
Yeah,
Is Loaf's in the chat?
he's in the chat right now.
Yeah, that's just Gordo stirring the pot. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that show as soon as this is over. So anyone else watching, maybe watch a couple Bourbon Bums videos first, but then go over and watch the Au Jus on the 108 channel.
All right, next up. Oh yes.
Gordo's got a surgery coming up. I think on the 19th, I believe. Open heart surgery. No joke. We're all rooting for him. We're going to see him before that. But if you want to help out, the Venmo is on the screen. If you're listening on the podcast, you could DM us. I'll send you the Venmo, or, you could DM us for the Zelle info. So we're still doing that. The Sadistic Bums Supergroup, or Sadistic Penguins group has the shirt for Gordo. You could buy it on their website.
SPF bums of the week are the fucking McCaskies and Kevin Warren. Yep, same old circle jerk every year with the ownership and their team president. Hope they collab those dicks in their mouth.
Okay.
Jeff Bartlett, bum. Matt Eberflus for not calling that timeout with 32 seconds left on Thanksgiving. Yep, that's what got him fired.
That among other things.
Yep. King Ass, bum of the week. This damn bitter cold weather. Yeah, it dropped pretty quick, man. I'm not ready for teens weather. That sounded really bad right there.
Yeah,
teens for weather not in the 30s. Let's go.
Yeah, well, it's bumping back up next week. Like high at 38, a couple 35 days. I'll take that for middle of December.
Heat wave.
Yeah. Bust out the arrachera. We're barbecuing next week.
Hell yeah. I like it.
I don't see what's wrong with this weather. It's perfect.
Bear weather, right?
Bear weather. MVB, all the people that took their time making meals and hosting friends and family over the last few days, checking them, they're tired. I'm just, you know what? I didn't cook for shit, but I'm just exhausted from all the eating and drinking. Like I needed like a 3-day nap from all of the carbs and alcohol I consumed.
I just finished my last of my Thanksgiving leftovers today before the show.
Did you do the sandwich?
I made another sandwich. I've been doing sandwiches like once a day for the last 4 days since Thursday. Get a piece of white bread. I put some mayo on there, some turkey, some ham, some stuffing, a little bit of Plochman's mustard. The little barrel, can't go wrong. Chicago staple, and then maybe a little bit of tapatio to make it a little spicy.
Ooh,
it's a beautiful sandwich. It's a beautiful sandwich.
I was going to ask you for some leftovers.
Too late. I had them all. I'm going to deep fry another turkey, though, before the end of the year. I got all that oil. It's still good. I'm going to probably deep fry another turkey. Maybe for Christmas, but probably before that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Deep fry everything.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the way you get the way I am, Bob. We can't deep fry everything.
Joey P, bum of the week, cold weather, more cold weather bums. All right. MVB, McDonald's for McRib season. Hell yeah. I can't wait to, if it was, they ruined me by dropping that during Thanksgiving. And it's just like, man, like I have too many leftovers and other things to eat. So I'm getting me one this week.
I told everybody out there last week, I've never had a McRib in my life whatsoever. I think tomorrow, I got a McDonald's right next to me downtown. I'm going to go take a walk. I think I'm going to get the McRib for lunch. That's going to be my lunch.
Hell yeah. Bob, you fuck with the McRibs?
Oh, I love a good McRib. You know what? I went I like the McRib, but I went to Sweet Baby Ray's and ordered the rib sandwich, and it was an effing McRib patty. I swear to God, like a frozen, like.
That's what they do at Bears games now.
This is your Sweet Baby Ray's. You should have
the Robinsons ribs.
The Robinsons ribs that are at Bears games. That used to be my staple. Halftime, go get a Robinson rib sandwich. It's basically gotten to the point where it's worse than a McRib. The quality's been terrible for the better part of like 2-3 seasons. Maybe you can blame COVID, whatever, supply chain or whatever, but those Robinson ribs are slipping at Soldier Field. So I'm putting you guys on notice. But yeah, you can't go wrong. Beef Loafin's in the comments. He's the king of the McRibs. McRibs are good.
Yep. All right, next up. Bruhan Luke, MVB, CFB rivalry week and rival teams planting their flag on the opposing team's 50-yard line. Bum, rivalry week losers who start a fight for said flag planting. Don't like it, win the game. Absolutely. Bum 2, OSU cops pepper spraying Michigan players for flag planting. What's wrong with everyone? Jesus.
So Johnny wanted to talk about this. I condensed the video. It's like a minute long, but it's about all the flag planting and fighting going on.
We could save it for
Your bum and MVB?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yep.
All right. I like that.
Yep.
Aaron the intern, bum of the week, my bum ass calf that decided to ruin months of training. Yeah, she texted us that she was running the half marathon. She blew her calf out 2.5 miles into it. That's a big fart noise.
No, I thought she was in the hospital. I thought it was that bad. I must have missed something, and then like she
that was me. I was trolling her. That was a picture from a previous hospital video.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but MVB
Thanksgiving food.
Yeah.
Missy, MVB, Johnny makes my favorite steak ever. A $90 steak doesn't taste as good as what he makes. Ooh. What's your secret, Johnny? A little salt and pepper?
Well, hold on. I didn't know about the $90 thing. I do like a good steak. And I would say that going to like Chicago Cut House and all that, they got really good steaks, better than mine. But I do make a good steak. I made one yesterday. I had a taste for steak. I haven't had steaks in a while, so had some sauteed onions, and not gonna tell you what I put in there, but I thought it was pretty good.
I'll tell you what you put in there. Remember that scene from Waiting when that bitch sent back her steak? You've seen that, right, Johnny?
What do you say? My steak's not good.
So do you do the base? Do you do the butter and the rosemary, Johnny?
So I'll tell you. So what I did was this time what I normally do is I marinate the steak. So I'll marinate the steak. I had it there like sitting in the refrigerator for a couple hours, and then I put my butter in there, soak that butter in there with the steak. And then, I sauteed the onions as well too. Another, some more butter. And I have, we've been to this place before. I have St. Elmo's seasoning. So I put that St. Elmo's seasoning on there, and I'm telling you that the between the marinating, the seasoning, and the sauteed onions, it was really good. Like I'm not trying to have this ego thing. I can make the best steaks in the world, but it is pretty good at what I did.
So we saw the tweet, like it was right before the BumCast started, and I said we're gonna have to have like a Johnny Cooks for the bums. We could expense it if you want. We'll buy the steaks, but you cook for the group, and we'll judge it fairly. And you got to remember, we got Dougie, who is a fairly accomplished cook. Jason cooks all the time. I don't cook all that much, but I know my way around a steak and a plate. But yeah, I'm excited about this. The one thing I wanted to bum you early, because I saw this picture on Twitter. I thought you guys were eating off of like plastic or like the paper Dixie plates. Like I was like, you fucking cooked all this meal and then it was a paper plate, but then I blew it up. We did the slides and I'm like, oh, it's actually a fancy plate. So
I have fancy plates. She was the one who picked those plates, so don't look at me with that plate.
They look like paper
and
plates.
it's not this. It's not. She just bought these plates. It's not even Dixie plates, but we had it on nice plates. So shut the fuck up.
Right.
So
get ready to cook, brother.
Fine. I will host. I will host and I will cook the steaks and all that. That's fine. And you guys could be the judges. Bob, come over too.
All right. I'm
Hell
in.
yeah. Free steak.
And finally, Mailman Jack, MVB, the kids' table at Thanksgiving. I need to go back. Okay. Bum of the week, 3+ hour movies. There's a lot of 3+ hour movies, but yes, I tend to agree that any movie over 3 hours tends to be maybe a two-parter.
I asked, I was like, I need some context. Like, what did you watch recently that made you think of this? He said that the new Wicked movie is a little longer than he would have liked. I don't think it's 3 hours long, but close.
It's less than 3 hours. I'm gonna watch it on Saturday with my daughter Avery. So I'm actually kind of excited. I want to see the movie.
When I saw the second Avatar movie was like 3 hours and 40 minutes, I was like, oh god damn it, there's gonna be so many pauses and bathroom breaks and pause to refill your drinks and everything, and pause to let the dog out. I'm like, this 3 hour and 45-minute movie is gonna take me 5 hours to get through.
Happens.
I'm not watching those Avatar movies.
All right, so let's get to we got Buffalo J, 1790 single barrel Bardstown High Wheat. Ooh, that's a good call right there.
Love that single barrel. I've never had that.
Yeah. I'm going. We did a review on the High Wheat on this very channel. You guys could watch it. I got it right here too. I got a 1792 single barrel. Those are fantastic. For the money, especially if you buy it for MSRP, I don't think you could beat the 1792 single barrel. So I'm going with that.
Yeah. I would agree as well. All right, let's get to our bums and MVPs. Bob, you said you didn't have anyone, so you just.
I'm good. I've got them. I got one. My bum of the week is Aziz Al Shair.
Oh hell yeah!
Who we had issues with earlier in the season.
Yeah, poking his finger in the sidelines. Yeah,
that hit on Lawrence was ridiculous, man. It was
brutal,
unbelievably bad. That guy's a piece of shit. Not a fan. And then my MVB is Benny's, because I don't know if you can see that. That is
shit.
Looks like a beat
Talk
tag.
to me. Talk to me, Bob.
George C. Sag that I won the right to buy in the lottery or their little contest. So
the raffle.
Thank you.
That's awesome. All right, so we're cooking the steaks at Bob's house. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah,
Johnny,
if you're okay with me cooking on your
we're gonna travel.
our stove,
get ready for a road game, Johnny.
Welcome to cook here and drink here. That's fine.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Congratulations. George C.
Stag. That was fun.
Hell yeah.
I'll bring my own butter too. Just so.
All right. I'm gonna go next here. I don't have any MVB this week. Well, we did. We consensus that we were going to thank Josh for the invite for this party on lovely time Saturday. Get together at the Ramova. Gotta get on Facebook, Johnny. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not on Facebook. I you know what? I did meet up afterwards. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, we did. I did meet up with him, so he was like, good. "Oh, I'm sorry,
so,
I didn't know."
MVB for the MVP. Good time Saturday night.
MVB to Josh Nelson. I mean, if you go on his Twitter page, he posted pictures of his birthday party.
Yeah, happy birthday.
He had a little bit of a Eberflus glow up. He's got the beard trimmed up. He's got like nice hair, and he bought this leather jacket in Italy. Josh Nelson looking like a little bit of a snack. That's a compliment to you.
As the Bears' next head coach, huh?
He had a Fonzie look going on.
Type of look. All right, my bum of the week is after Eberflus got fired, it was the people who were saying we shouldn't be celebrating a man losing his job. And to that, I say, fuck you. I am going to celebrate that man losing his job because he gave me 3 years of misery, and he still gets paid for 2 years for doing absolutely jack shit. So don't feel bad for the man losing his job. He's still getting paid millions of dollars for 2 years. Okay? So shut the hell up with that. I am happy he got fired. Yes. I am going to celebrate that because it's not like he's going to be on the street starving to get food. He'll be absolutely just fine.
The Packers should bring him too, and as a guy like they did with the Jets coach.
Yeah, consultant. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, you got a lot of college football stuff here. Let's go.
Yeah, real quick. So I'm going to use this as my MVP, and I'll kind of talk the reason why. Peter, play the clip, please.
In the middle of the field with fans on the field, this is not a pretty scene. This is not good. This is scary. You got players with their helmets off.
This is a bad scene.
I'm going to say it right now because I know Brian Luke put that out there as his like MVP and what a bum and stuff like that. The best part was those fucking mascots going at it and just fighting. like I understand the whole thing in the rivalry week. I have never seen a rivalry week go that fucking hard ever in college football.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It was great entertainment. It was great football all weekend long. But those mascots, it was literally the icing on the fucking cake. Seeing those guys go at it and just fighting. So it was a good week for college football. And obviously they're going to start going into the college football playoffs here soon. So I'm actually looking forward to that because that's something that a lot of college football fans have been striving for. So
is this the first year with the expanded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the first year. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm pumped for that.
Yes. So yeah. So my what a bum is also related to college as well too. And I didn't have a clip. I probably should put in there so for some content over here as well too. It's Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley, UConn coach. He was acting like a fucking baby. Lost 3 in a row in a tournament and just could not hold it in. He won 2 championships back to back, and he can't take fucking losses. He was blaming refs. He was blaming everybody, and just the world was dropping on Dan Hurley last week, and he just could not take it. So, you know what? Fuck them. I'm upset because UConn beat Illinois the way that they did, and I was fucking pissed off. So, fuck Dan Hurley.
Yeah, fuck Dan Hurley.
Yep. All right, Peter, take us home.
All right, I'm going to start with my bum of the week. I said I'm stat padding my bum of the week for the end of the season bum of the year tournament that we're doing at the end of the year, you know, beginning of January. We're compiling all of my bums and all of our bums. So I've driven into the city twice in the last 2 weekends. And at this point, there is just no good time to go inbound I-55 in Chicago. It is brutal. It took me, I go to Sox games a good amount of time. It took me more than an hour to get to the Ramova from my place. And I'm getting to the point where I'm an old man and any bit of traffic pisses me off. I was losing my shit. And I was in the car by myself. I was playing music that I like. No kids, no wife, no anything. I was still motherfucking the world, punching the steering wheel because I'm like, what the fuck happened to I-55 to where at point it's just bumper to bumper every day of the week. It was Saturday at like 6 p.m. Like there should be no traffic.
I was gonna say I was with you on Tuesday going to the Ramova, or not Tuesday. I forgot it was last Friday or the other Friday before. Like it seemed like it was fine. So
yeah, no, it was
bad. Okay, there's something
bad, man. And then we went to the Guinness Open Gate, which is, you know, more in the city. That took me an hour and a half, more than an hour and a half, like hour 45 to get into the city. I'm just motherfucking traffic. I'm motherfucking I-55.
They should have made that like 4 or 5 lanes when they did the remodel like years ago. They should have but they made it 3, and they didn't make that like 294, man, where it's just wide ass lanes.
I remember, now I'm aging myself. I remember when I-55 was 2 lanes and they expanded it to 3 lanes for the 94 World Cup to get to Soldier Field. And I was like, holy shit, this is a nice highway. They need to do it again. We need another World Cup. It's not happening, but we need something else to make it this highway bigger. Because
5 lanes. 5 lanes. Give us 5 lanes.
And then I'll close out the show, MVB. And it's not just because you're on screen, Bob, but we've enjoyed our time together with both the Hard Knocks shows, Talking Bears, and now today breaking down the Eberflus firing and everything else. We appreciate you coming on. You're busy. Awesome. You got to wake up early, but I really enjoy when I'm talking football with you. So MVB, Gas Money Bob. Everyone in the comments, please clap.
Yes. And obviously, if you don't already, go follow Gas Money Bob at Gas Money Bob on has some of the best one-liners in Twitter when it comes to sports content. So
now on Blue Sky, Gas Money Bob.
And I'll make you feel better about a Bears loss.
Yeah. So all right. That's our show. Thanks everyone who commented, who liked, subscribed, shared, all that good stuff. And special thank you to our very special guest, Gas Money Bob, the leader of men. He's going to march us into victory in the Bears' next head coaching search. But that is our show for the week. We'll be back next Monday. Hopefully, finally a Bears victory Monday. We haven't celebrated a Bears victory Monday for so long, so we need something to be happy about. So until then, everyone stay safe. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Bear down, everybody. I'm bringing the claw back now that Eberflus.